Hello and welcome back to another video with me, Meoni. This time a answers to the questions and answers bulletin that I posted over a month ago now, and I kind of wanted to get some questions gathered from that. It's been a month. I've not forgotten about it. I just wanted to wait until there was enough questions to actually make a video on. So here we are. This is basically my answers to your questions. Basically, I don't think I've left anyone out. If I have, then I do apologize. I'll make sure to put you into the next one. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section of this video, since then I can scan through those and collect questions for that next video. So without further ado, let's start with Luke Elson's question 1 month ago. Do you realize how calming your voice is, or do you not hear it how we do? I'm pretty sure the latter of those two. I've never considered my voice calming. I've never really, I don't know. Do you find your voice calming when you talk to people? Is this really something that people consciously do? I have been told quite a lot of times that people like my voice and that I should go into voice acting, not realizing the many hoops go through to actually get into that. But no, I don't think I do myself personally. But other people seem to like it. I don't know. It's one of those things. And now on to another question, this one from Darkest Roses. What is your absolute favourite glamour? Well, I have to say, probably my favourite glamour is the one that I got commissioned into an art piece, which was the summer attire with the big sort of summer hat and the, I'm not really good at explaining things. I'll show it on screen for you. It's an absolutely fantastic set that just sort of fits together. The reason I like this most is because it took me a long time to find something that wouldn't clip horribly, essentially turn the skirt invisible. And I really liked the ruffled skirt, so I was hoping to find something to go with it. I was really disappointed when that set came out, like Rose can attest to that. I was really upset that I wasn't able to put anything waist height with that skirt. But when I figured out you could put the Fairjoy with that skirt and it wouldn't clip because it's above that waist level, it really is one of the only options. So I think in that regard it's probably my favourite glamour, but it's likely not the best one that I've come up with. The third question from Yang. Oh, Yang's a Patreon subscriber. Thank you very much for your support, Yang. Hi Meoni, here's a question I always like to hear from long-time fans. With such a wide variety of MMOs about, what made you fall in love with Final Fantasy XIV in particular above others? Lots of love, Yang. Well, I was actually talking about this the other day. Has a lot more character, and I think that that's part of the fact that the overall franchise has been around a lot longer than a lot of other MMOs that backs the MMO. World of Warcraft has been around for a long time, but it pales in comparison to the actual franchise of Final Fantasy, which carries on really well into the MMO and really makes it what it is. There's a lot less iconography when you look at a game like Warcraft or Guild Wars. There isn't something that instantly says, oh, that's that game. Whereas all I have to do to you is dangle a chocobo in front of your face or a Moogle and you know specifically what franchise I'm talking about. And they reflect that really well in the designs and iterations in 14. But that's probably not the whole reason I fell in love with Final Fantasy XIV. I think in particular, the main thing is that Final Fantasy XIV offers challenging PvE content that always never fails to surprise and evolve, whereas something like World of Warcraft, which I played for many years of my life, hasn't actually got quite as much variety, I would say. But I'm probably going to get shot down for that, but that's my opinion. Thank you for the question. Next question by Sinitas. What did you like better, A Realm Reborn, Heavensward or Stormblood, and why? I didn't really enjoy A Realm Reborn as much as I should have, mostly because when we first started playing, it was a very fun, raw experience, but I think the lack of content, simply because I wanted to be max level as fast as possible. I came from World of Warcraft and I expected a much more fleshed out game content wise, and I think there was only like 2 dungeons at endgame and 1 raid which no one would take me to because they were incredibly elitist, and by the time I'd sorted my gear out, I wasn't really ready for it either. Heavensward was a lot of fun. I did a bit of raiding, but not as much as I would have liked to. And Stormblood, I did a lot more raiding and a lot more variety of content, and finally got to grips with more of my character, but that's not really the expansion that I enjoyed more than any other. It's just my experiences in Stormblood felt more established and more fun than the other expansions or base game, whatever you want to call it. But I do think that Stormblood has some of the best character development and music design I have ever heard in an MMO, so there is that. The next question by Scarfgaroff, I'm not sure if I've pronounced that correctly, with the Monster Hunter crossover event just a couple of weeks away, this is obviously a month old, bear that in mind, are there any other collaborations you would like to see? Perhaps a Kingdom Hearts event to celebrate its launch. I don't think anybody would say no to any collaborations. If somebody said I would love to do a Nier Automata crossover, I think everyone would go absolutely crazy over that, especially if they offered something from 2B, for example, maybe not even her costume, but the hairdo, for example, and a proper bandana to go with that, as obviously everyone's tried to replicate that, myself included, in Glamour. But I would like to see something unique, maybe another Dragon Quest crossover. I really love that franchise and it'd be nice to see something else. But I think the biggest thing on my list would be more Secret of Mana content, and a Final Fantasy Secret of Mana crossover, however impossible that might be. It would be really cool. I'm not sure what I'd want as a reward other than a Rabbite minion though, so I can't think past that. I love my minions and my glamour. Next question from my girlfriend, actually, Black Rose. I got one that others might like to know. What other YouTubers do you look up to and who inspires you? Who inspired me, unfortunately, before their passing to cancer was John Bain, Total Biscuit. A lot of journalistic YouTubers should owe a lot to John Bain. He provided a lot for the idea that we shouldn't just take things at face value. I think he inspired a lot of people to create more content, myself included, back when I was doing World of Warcraft content. It's fair to say that he inspired quite a lot of my videos and went my own direction. And it's a real shame that he's gone now, but there's lots of other YouTubers that I aspire to. I'm a lot more broad in the type of YouTubers I watch these days. I used to just watch the, famous sort of 4 YouTubers and no one else. But as I've got older, I like to watch a more wider variety of content creators, and I think with age you basically start watching more dumb stuff, and I enjoy taking from videos a lot of editing techniques and then wondering how you do them and trying my hardest to replicate them, which you'll probably see in upcoming videos. So it's always good. Inspiration is fantastic. No One Knows Famfrit asks why you chose a female character. Oh, this question. So to reply to this simply, my choice was based on what I wanted my character to be. I didn't necessarily want to be a male cat. I've played a lot of cat-related female characters in other games, such as Arcade, where possible I'll play the cat race, and I always find that the female races do have better animations, and they have a lot better glamour options, as you can probably agree. If there were more male glamour options that were really good, and you could make a male character look awesome, then, I probably would be playing a male character. But that's mostly the reason, that and it's, role play, so you can play what you want. Steve Blah comments, how are your overall feelings on where the story or game as a whole is moving towards? Further, what do you want to see from the Empire and its interaction with the Scions? Ooh, that's an interesting question. From what we've seen in Stormblood, I think we're really going to be pushing towards replacing the Emperor with Gaius, if he is indeed alive. I suppose that is a bit spoilery, I'm not really sure. It's a bit speculation at this point anyway, no one can confirm or deny, but it's fairly obvious that Gaius is probably alive, and I think that will be our entry into that. I think that we're going to be forging that alliance through blood. There's going to be a lot of turmoil and war. Some of the Scions are probably going to die as a result of it. It's going to be an interesting journey, and that'll probably be in 5.0, leading up to 6.0, I would imagine, in next year's expansion. So it's looking interesting. What I think of the story so far, I think it's developing at the pace I would have wanted it to do. I do think that the Alamigo occupation was way too quick, however, and I hope they don't replicate that sort of very fast taking back of Alamigo with the Garlean Empire, or I'd be slightly disappointed. The next question, Cloud VP. Have you played the other Final Fantasy games? If so, which is your favourite? Also, if they added the Vieira race from Final Fantasy XII, should you change to them? I know it won't happen, but I'm curious. I have indeed played the Final Fantasy games. I've played most of them, apart from the spin-off games. I've played all of the numbered titles, I think, including 11 as well. I think my favourite is probably going to be either 7 or 8. They're the ones I have the closest connection to, simply because of the sort of time I was first seeing that content back on the PlayStation 1. A friend of mine, his brother, had Final Fantasy VII, and I had never heard of the Final Fantasy franchise before. And as I was having a sleepover at his house, I walked past his room, stopped, and then looked inside, and he was playing Final Fantasy VII at the famous scene where Sid is launching his rocket for the first time into space, and it just sort of leans over and makes this creaking noise. I thought that was absolutely incredible, and it inspired me to ask, what is that game? And from there, the rest is history. It's a fantastic series, and I think any particular game always has a different sort of connection to a different person depending on when they actually played it and which one they played first. But I think 8 in particular as well was a similar experience, and then I went back and played the others, and then 9, and yeah, 10 was exceptional. However, that's probably very high on my list. And I really enjoyed the spin-offs such as 10-2 as well, which a lot of people don't like for some reason. Next question is by Blaziken Blade Channel. What in Final Fantasy XIV do you think deserves a special mention about? I think the community in general deserves a special mention. There are people who go on Reddit that are blanked all the time. Artists, well, yeah, they're all artists really if you think about it, but photography people, Photoshop people who go and knit a plushie of a happy bunny from Eureka just because they're bored. There's a large variety of really cool, talented people, but I think a lot of people just brush past and don't really see. I would love to one day sort of showcase some user creations, but I don't want to sort of impede on their thunder and sort of steal that from them. That's their posts on Reddit. All I would say is that as much as Reddit can be a cesspool, there are some incredibly cool people on there that are genuine and they like to share what they do. So I'd definitely like to bring special attention to the sort of creatives that do this sort of stuff, especially the artists as well that take commissions. Next question by Oricana Angel. Meoni, I've been wondering for a while, if glamour for male characters gets better, do you see yourself changing your character's gender? I mentioned this pretty much earlier as well as an answer, but I don't think I'll change at this point. But if there were more male centered character options and better glamour, then I'd think about it strongly, considering it would be nice to have, you know, the male equivalent to my girlfriend's female character. At the same time, it doesn't really matter so much to me anymore. I've always played sort of this sort of cat girl situation for female. It doesn't bother anyone else that I know personally, and honestly the glamour options are better. Taco Sensei asks, have you considered to start streaming, or at least try it, or do you already stream and I just don't know? I would love to be able to stream, and that would definitely be the next evolution of the channel. Unfortunately, I have less than 1 meg up, and that is not really enough to stream anything but 2 pixels at you, with incredible amounts of lag. I have looked into upgrading that. Unfortunately, we live kind of rural in the countryside, and we can't really get any better internet than that. All I can do is wait a couple of years and hope that the region I live in eventually gets upgraded, but there are indeed parts of the UK that the government just doesn't give a shit about, and essentially we just get shafted when it comes to internet options. Next question by Rita F. Please make more dungeon and primal guides. I love how clearly you explained the boss mechanics in the videos I did see. I would love to do more, and in fact that is definitely the plan going forward for 4.4 onwards. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be able to do all of the guides for all of the Savage modes, most likely all of the normal modes of the next Omega raid if that's really wanted, but definitely the primals, and I'll try and get the extreme versions as well. I really enjoyed filming the Rathalos one, and a lot of people enjoyed that apparently, so we're going to be looking at that as well in the future. But bear in mind, it's not my primary content, considering there's a lot of very good alternatives from a lot of bigger channels that you can go watch as well for that same information. Next question from Kazuhaze. Why in the very first treasure chest in every dungeon is always filled with potions? This is something I've always asked myself. I think it just acts as a bit of a filler. They need those trash options inside dungeons to reward players gil items to throw in their inventory. Past that reasoning, I don't really know. Maybe they're trying to hint that we should do something with the potions if they're actually useful. Next question from Avanal059. When are you going to feature the Bullpup companion? As is evident, the Bullpup is best pup. Probably soon. Now you've recommended it, I will look into making a video on that if I've not already. Lil Cheeky Chan asks, are you going to the Paris Fan Fest? No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go this year. I really want to go to the next one. However, just basically money was an issue, and there's no press access apart from people who are paid by Square Enix. So unfortunately, that wasn't an option for me. Bloodlust Paradox asks, what do you think about the mounts with poor choices of mount music on them? Well, I think that the obvious go-to community answer is it's lazy design, but honestly I think that if they had unique sounds for every single mount, that would take further development time, and really I just want more mounts. I know that's greedy, but I would just love more mounts. There's a real sort of addiction quality to mounts that you can't find anywhere else, and I just want more mounts, basically. Next question. Did you have a favorite primal? If so, which one? Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a very tough one. My favorite primal. I think I've really enjoyed Goddess Sophia just because of her design. The mechanics of the fight were fun, but it wasn't anything too overly special. From Stormblood, I really liked Susano, simply because of that sword mechanic where if you're a tank you get to spam the button. It looks really cool and it makes some really good screenshots. I really enjoy a lot of the Stormblood primals, I think a lot more than the older ones. I think Goddess Sophia is probably above everything else though, simply because I think it's so well designed in terms of visuals. BYT3S asks, do you intend to cover other games in the future? Certainly. We are actually planning that. I can't really go into too many more details because we might change our minds as to what we show. But I definitely want to do some stuff with Rose, probably a couple of playthroughs, which wouldn't actually affect the continuity of the channel in regards to daily Final Fantasy XIV videos. It would be in addition to that. Jay Harper asks, where are you from? I'm from the UK too. I'm from England, most notably the east of England, the east coast in the countryside. It's incredibly bad internet coverage zone and there's old people, tourists, and fields. That's about it. Oliver Chicha says, who is your favourite NPC in the game and why? Who is your favourite Scion? Well, I was actually going to answer both of those by answering with Y'shtola, simply because, you know, she's everyone's favourite cat girl, but I guess that would be a bit of a cop-out. She's definitely my favourite Scion, simply because I like the way she talked in the English VO, and also I like her character in general. I think there's a lot more development we can see out of her character that unfortunately is sorely missed in Stormblood. Any other favourite NPC in the game? I think at the moment, NPC-wise, I did like Gosetsu, but they wrote him out of the storyline and I was very upset about that. I mean, I know he's not out forever, it's not like he died, but I would have liked to have seen more of him, and he was definitely becoming my favourite, just because I liked his gruff, sort of old samurai nature. I thought that was a really good sort of cliche to go down the route of. But apart from that, I would say current NPC, I'd probably have to go with probably the unmasked dude that's probably Gaius, just because there's potential for that character, and hopefully it all comes to my imagination of what I think's going to happen. Next question, Tools Annie asks, do you have a good crafting rotation? I have 4 jobs at 70 so far, but I'm having a hard time with the class quests at the end. Thank you, Meoni. I think as it comes to rotations, they're sort of on basis for whatever you're crafting. It sort of changes a bit. There's no be-all and end-all answer to that. There's a couple of macros that we can look into, and I'll try and send you a couple of those privately as well. AKA Mitty asks the final question for today's Q&A. Excuse me if this has been answered before, but I'm just wondering, how old are you? Your first name would also be nice to know if you feel like sharing. My name's Sam, and I'm currently 29 years of age, and I am in a relationship with my girlfriend, and we play the game together. It's not really a strange question. I suppose it's never come up before. It was going to come up more in the vlog content that I was planning for FanFest, but now we're not going. I'm going to sort of delay that a bit. I want to share some more vlog type stuff, but I'm not sure whether to make a separate channel for that or include it very rarely on this channel as a playlist. Let me know what you think about that below, if you want to see more real life stuff or not. Either way, that wraps up today's Q&A, or rather this month's Q&A. This is a month old, I know, but we got a lot of really nice questions. Again, if I did miss your question, I am eternally sorry, and I will make sure that I look through these again. And if I do notice one's missing, or you can message me and tell me that I missed one, then I will carry that on to the next Q&A session. Leave a comment in the comment section if you have any further questions. I'll follow them on to the next Q&A, probably in another month, probably not. Probably a bit sooner than that. And thank you all for contributing and supporting me in the way you do. It means an incredible amount to me to see people comment positively each and every day, and to see those thumbs ups outweighing the thumbs downs means a lot as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.